Hi guys, it's Coach Ali. Now, for those of you who follow me on Instagram, I did promise that I would reveal my very own diet and the rules that surround it to give you guys an idea of how I get in shape. This is the same method that I've used for contest prep 15 years ago when I used to compete, and it's still the same method that works for me today. When I showed you guys progress from 6 weeks ago until now, I did mention that I've tried all sorts of diets, the latest in scientific breakthrough, what the world's top nutritionists think, and so on and so forth. I can tell you that none of them have worked for me. I've not been able to get myself below 10% body fat with any of those diets. Now, having gone back to my traditional contest style diet, I've seen the body fat shed like it's nobody's business. Now guys, by no means am I telling you that my diet is the only way, nor am I saying that it's gonna work for everybody. I'm simply saying that this diet works for me perfectly, and it's just as effective in my early 40s as it was in my late 20s. So I'm finding that age is not really a barrier. Okay, let's get started with some basic rules. Now, the first rule that I have is that I fast for 12 hours between 8 p.m. and 8 a.m. no matter how hungry I get. So if I'm really hungry at 10:30, 11 o'clock, I suck it up and I go to sleep on that. The only thing I consume after 8 p.m. are quite literally water or green tea. That's it. I do not eat a meal at 10:30 and then push the fasting period back. That does not work. I've tried that in the past. I can assure you, hasn't worked for me. Do not carb deplete in the morning. That's another issue. When I'm losing body fat, my breakfast, my mid-morning snack, and my early lunch all contain carbs. When I cut the carbs out of those early meals, I do not lose body fat. I've tried various stints of this over many years with different diets, and it has never actually worked. My drinks are limited to long black coffee, black or green tea without milk or sweeteners, or just plain water. I cut out all soft drinks, sodas, anything else during cutting season, and that includes Coke Zero, Pepsi Max, all of those chemically sweetened beverages. I do not take a protein shake to the gym and sip it between sets. That is neither beneficial for weight loss nor muscle gain. Your protein shake will be consumed before training or after training, depending on what's in it and what it is that you're trying to do with your body. 20 years ago, when I had a couple of mentor trainers, they explained it to me like this. When you're trying to change water in your swimming pool, you don't empty one bucket and then fill up a bucket and then empty another bucket and so on and so forth. You're gonna be doing this all day and you're still not gonna get clean water. Now, it's exactly the same for your body. When you're trying to set and burn around 10 calories and then replace 10 calories worth with a sip of your shake, you're not being productive. You're not gonna get those results. Lots of rookies do this thinking that they're gonna get better gains. You need to completely deplete glycogen and burn maximum oxygen through a full training session and then refuel properly. The same way that you would with that swimming pool. You drain the whole swimming pool and then you replace the whole thing with water. Finally, guys, make sure you get solid sleep at night. This will allow your body to recover while you're resting. You cannot get lean without this one rule, guys. So bank on that sleep. Now, finally, let me ask you guys a question. So what should I do if I can't get that last meal in around 8 o'clock on time? Let's just say I'm stuck at work until 11 p.m. Do I skip that last meal and start fresh tomorrow at 8 o'clock? Or do I squeeze another meal in, say at around 11 p.m., and then try to push my fasting period back till 11 o'clock the next day? The answer is that I'm gonna keep the consistency. I'm gonna stop eating at 8 o'clock no matter what happens. Now, in best case scenario, I'm gonna have a low carb protein bar or a low carb protein shake handy, and if I need to, it'll take me about 30 seconds to slam that down, get it in at 8 o'clock instead of the dinner in case you're not getting around to getting your dinner in. Then I'll simply sleep on that until breakfast time. Now, let's go into the actual meal. So what do I actually eat? So breakfast for me, as you guys now know, is around 8 o'clock. Now, if I've been diligent, I've already done a half an hour power walk on an empty stomach in the morning to kickstart my metabolism and to have me ready to eat. Now, admittingly, that's not every morning at the moment, but if I was competing, then it would be every morning without fail. Now, for breakfast, I like to start off with good fibrous carbs to get my digestive system working. So I normally have half a cup of rolled oats with 1 to 1.5 shots of low carb protein. And to sweeten that up, I might put half a small apple, a green apple that is, or half a pear or something similar, and then I blend the whole thing using boiling water. Okay, so this will give me a smooth porridge finish. Blending the whole thing for around 10 seconds in a Ninja or a NutriBlaster or whatever type of blender that you've got is going to work really well. And then pretty much all I do is I pour it into a cup and I allow it to sit for a little bit just to cool down. Now, I normally have my morning oats with a large long black coffee. If your problem is going to the bathroom regularly, trust me, this breakfast will solve that problem quickly for you. Now, mid-morning snack. So for me, my mid-morning snack is normally 4 eggs, but just 1 yolk. And I'll have that with 2 plain rice cakes and 1/3 of an avocado smeared on the whole thing. Depending on how the morning is looking, I might have another long black coffee, but it'll be very weak, and basically it's lots of water and just a little bit of coffee in that. With my snack, I'm gonna have my daily immune boosting combination, which for me consists of vitamin C, vitamin D, as well as lysine and zinc. Now, I've already covered the benefits of stacking this formula together in my playlist, Coach Ali Explains. So if you want to know more about that, feel free to look that one up and understand how to boost your immune system. All right, so we're on to lunch. So I normally have 2 lunches, an early lunch and a late lunch. The early lunch will be typically around 200 grams of either chicken breast or turkey breast, along with half a cup of rice and a cup of green vegetables. Now, I'll also include a tablespoon of flax oil in the mix as well. Now, typical additives for the meal will be lemon juice, apple cider vinegar, crushed garlic, pink salt, that type of thing. Very important, guys, not all methods of cooking rice are the same. Now, it doesn't matter if you go white rice or brown rice. The variance is, in fact, so little that it doesn't actually matter in the grand scheme of things. What is important is how you cook your rice. Now, I can tell you the Persian way of cooking rice is about bringing the pot to the boil and then washing the starch out. So the white stuff that you see running on top of the water, we want to make sure that we wash all of that out. This is very important because we don't want to leave the starch in the rice. Your brain could confuse that for sugar, and then we've got a whole bunch of problems. Once you've washed the starch out, then put the rice back in the pot, cook it on low, and just make sure that you're not burning your rice. Now, at this point, I've had 3 carb meals so far, so I need to start to cut the carbs out of my meals. The second lunch 3 hours later will be very similar to my first lunch, but it's not going to have half a cup of rice in there, and it's also not going to have the flax oil either. Now, you can switch from poultry to lean red meats or fish if you prefer, but if you are food prepping, it's always easier to use the same ingredients for the early lunch as it is for the late lunch. All right, guys, this brings us to dinner, so that you guys already know, for me, that's around 8 p.m. It's very simple. It's 200 grams of white fish or 125 grams of red flesh fish with a big salad. Now, there'll be lots of lettuce, lots of spinach, anything green I can get my hands on. So that'll include cucumbers, celery, capsicum, broccoli, asparagus, alfalfa sprouts, or anything else that's green and vegetation, basically. Now, to break it up, occasionally I'll switch my salad and I'll have a cabbage salad instead. So this will be a change in texture and flavor. Now, I do use a sugar-free mayonnaise-based dressing, which I can reveal for you guys on the next video, so make sure you stay tuned. Now, I have a question for you guys. So what happens if 8 o'clock comes around and I haven't eaten yet? Now, we covered this just a few minutes ago. So normally, so that I'm not going from a late lunch all the way to breakfast the next morning, which is going to be very, very uncomfortable, I'll have some low-carb protein bars handy. Now, if I know that I'm not going to get to eat my dinner meal on time, then at 8 p.m. I'll substitute and have a low-carb protein bar or a protein drink then. So in short, I use protein bars to replace foods when I can't get it due to my working hours and my commitments. It's not built into my diet, it's more like a plan B. Alternatively, here's an example of what I did last night to improvise. I had clients until 8 p.m. in the studio, and then I had to jump on a Zoom call, which normally takes around an hour. So by the time I would get home to get a chance to eat properly, it'd be well past 9 o'clock, which is time that I should be fasting. So very simply, I prepared this. It's tuna in spring water with plenty of celery and cucumber. Now you can see that I'm using the sugar-free mayo mix that I like, and I'm also using fermented vegetables. Now you guys already know my take on using fermented vegetables to help drop body fat. If you do not know that, then again, you can go to the playlist Coach Ali Explains, find that video and check it out. Okay, so that's pretty much it, guys. It's a simple formula and it works very well for me. This diet, along with the early morning power walk and 40 minutes of strength and conditioning every day, is enough to get me down to 8% body fat. Now, to go further down and to go to 5% or 6% body fat, I'm gonna have to start tapering down the daytime carbs and adding short, late stints of cardio into the mix as well. But that's content for another day. Just before I forget, I do have cheat days in my diet. So it's not exactly a cheat day, it's basically a cheat meal once a week, and it helps manage both cravings and rebuild leptin, so my brain doesn't think that I'm starving myself. You can continue your weekly cheat meal in your diet indefinitely, and it's gonna help you get through it. All right, that's it for today, guys. I've given you my diet now. I know that most people don't reveal their secrets, they don't give you those details, but I wanted to make sure that I'm giving you guys good information. If you enjoyed this content, please share it with your loved ones, and don't forget to subscribe to this channel for all the workouts you can handle. I'll see you guys soon.